Well, you need some new tires? Go to M&M in Cahokia. What, are you trying to plan for your kids' future, your retirement and stuff, to protect your money? Talk to my literal brother, Aaron Bachman. What, you trying to drink some beers or like some other non-alcoholic stuff? Talk to Four Hands. What, you trying to grow some fire weed at home? Talk to Tree 14. What, you trying to protect your business assets? Talk to Chris Sullivan, Powers Insurance.
STL Strangers, who are you?
I'm Robert Dodd.
Who is Robert Dodd?
Robert Dodd,
Dodd, D-O-D.
D-O-D-D. It's like Dobbs,
Got
but
it.
Dodd, yeah.
Speaking of tires real quick, we have a sponsor, M&M Tires in Cahokia, Illinois. If you need some tires, they got great deals.
Well, you see, I did that on purpose. I just knew that
You're
we were going to
natural.
be talking about tires. So.
Yeah. So who is Robert Dodd?
So I have two faces. The first face is the daytime face. I work in the operating room as a nurse. And then by night, I also record a podcast too. So.
And do you have a personality on the podcast that's different from like your daytime thing?
No.
What's the name of your
Probably
podcast?
not. It's Tip Tea Podcast. It's like a play on tipsy.
Tip and tea, sip and tea.
Sipping tea, talking shit. So.
Yeah. What do you talk about?
Well, we talk about everything. Nothing's off limits. We like to discuss lots of different topics, talk to different people, talk to marginalized communities, get fresh perspective and use our platform to talk to other people and like uplift them and their platform and voices. So,
Right on.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I had two questions already. You talked about you're a nurse in the operating room.
Uh-huh.
How's it been?
So
COVID.
Yeah, so COVID, I mean, that's kind of how the podcast came together. So right before COVID, I was working in a surgery center. They do all elective cases and stuff like that versus the hospital where that's like emergent and stuff. So these aren't like life-threatening things. They're just, things that need to get done.
I got a boil.
Yeah, I got a boil or I need to get some boobies or fix my knee or, all that kind of stuff, not emergent things. But I was working at a surgery center and then COVID hit and, everybody's kind of scrambling around. We ended up getting furloughed for a couple months. So that was like March. I think I was furloughed until like May, June. And then by then, I had switched places, went to go work in another operating room in about like August. So it's been kind of interesting because, they kind of halted things for a bit until they kind of understood things. And then even when we kind of understood things, it's like, patients wearing masks too and the social distancing and, going to get surgery. And prior to COVID, you were able to get your family in the waiting room with you and bring them back. Like you're basically being dropped off, taken back. Your family's not going.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. No, I have friends who had babies, or I have had friends. My stepmom passed away like a month and a half ago.
I'm sorry.
And
to
like
hear
some
that.
of that stuff. Yeah, she's a great woman, great person. I appreciate you saying that. I already had like one feeling about you, dude. But like I was like, I bet you're comforting those people.
Yeah.
You seem like that, dude.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I do enjoy it. Although we get some crazy people, but
Of course.
Yeah.
Were you scared throughout this?
Throughout COVID?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like scared of getting COVID,
Scared of getting COVID, scared of, and maybe not even like getting COVID, but the potential of having COVID and then giving it to somebody else.
Right.
That I can't, because if I got COVID, which I am pretty sure I didn't get COVID, But, you know, if I had COVID and got sick, I'm pretty sure I would be okay for the most part. But, you know, my parents or my grandparents or giving it to a patient, like that would really, that would hurt me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, I was more scared about giving it to other people and not knowing that I had it, but also scared getting it.
In that time, did the hospital or the surgery center continue paying you?
So when I went furloughed, I got like unemployment. So then we were getting the unemployment. And then at the time when that was happening, because everybody was getting furloughed, they did like that bonus pay.
The 600 or
yeah. So I was actually, this is kind of crazy. I was actually making more on unemployment than being like, because I was getting paid every week. Yeah, I was making a little bit more than what I was making at the surgery center.
Did that make you feel any kind of way?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, surgery centers are kind of different from hospital. Like, you're volume dependent, so there's going to be times when you're not as busy, and you know, if there's not any surgeries, then there's not any work. So, that being said, there's like highs and lows sometimes. Like, you know, during Christmas time, it's crazy. Everybody's trying to get their surgery and their
really
because they're trying to
because
meet
the
their
year's ending.
deductibles.
Got it.
So they are trying to get it done before the first of the year. So that's a really busy time. But then there's also times when it's not busy. But yeah, I mean, it made me feel some type of way, like, you know.
Were you like, you felt like, and I don't know if you want to feel comfortable saying this if you're employed. So are you like, you felt like, did you feel like resentful that you're not getting paid more when you're there? Or like, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to put the words in your mouth, but I'm saying, like, what did you think about it?
But like I said, like, we are volume dependent. So,
you understand the ebbs and flows.
The ebbs and flows of it. But you know, it is kind of like, you know, fuck you, pay me. Like,
I get it.
You know, like,
as a business owner, I'm kind of on the other side of that, right?
Yeah.
Where I'm like, man, hand to God, I want to ask you real quick about saying man in a second. I want to come back to that just based on some of your like Instagram profile stuff. But I'm like, I pay people as much as I possibly can. The lowest paid person for a long time and still now, and some of that comes and goes, makes more money than me, right? I had like the opposite side of that. I'm like, oh my God, people are going to get all this money. They're going to get more money than I can pay them. You know what I mean? And why are people going to come back?
Yeah.
And we didn't lose anybody. And I think some of that is like, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? And then some of it also is like, oh, I think like, not just looking at people like, oh, you're a job. You know what I mean? You're a person. I try to like manage and look at whole people, have like an inclusive family kind of atmosphere, which sometimes leads to some bullshit. Tip and tea. It is
tip and tea. Plug me. No, I agree. Like I've worked all over the place, and there's places that you feel like a warm body versus like a person. But it is like, you know, like I am a person, you know, this is my job, but I'm still a person. I'm not just a number or so. Yeah, no, I mean, I totally get about making the employees feel like they are family and like they're a person, and it's important. So
your Instagram profile, I don't know you, I've never met you before, right? You're delightful though. I like you a lot. Like what your Instagram profile, you were like, hey, I want to be on, and you want me to be on your thing, right?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to. But it said like pro black, pro femme, pro ho. Am I remembering it right?
Pro black, pro ho, pro trans, pro, everything except fuck Trump.
Okay. Everything, do what?
I said everything except fuck Trump. Yeah.
You said everything.
Yeah, I said, it was like.
The end of that is fuck Trump.
Yeah.
Right. Did you think, I thought about this? I thought that, you know what is wild, dude? And I want to ask you some stuff. I had a thought when I saw those things, and then I saw that it said fuck Trump. And you know what I was thinking? I was like, Trump doesn't even fucking have a voice anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's still like, man, fuck Trump. And it's not like, I was thinking this, and tell me what you think.
Okay.
Right? This is my thought on it. Maybe I should, but I feel like I'm not the best interviewer.
No, go
all right?
ahead.
It's not fuck that dude. It feels like fucking ideology. Right? It feels like fuck a thing when people say fuck Trump.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's both. I feel like it's kind of both.
You want to go on? We have gooey butters. I'll grab you. Let me grab you a napkin. Boom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's an idea, but he's also the face of that idea. So it's kind of hard to take him away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're saying fuck that man?
Fuck him and fuck his ideas too. I mean, yeah.
What ideas?
They're not interchangeable.
Right.
I mean, just this. I feel like he created this whole thing of them versus them versus us. Just this rhetoric of hate that we're not, like, as a country, we're not about.
I love that you say that.
You know?
Yeah. Because I don't think we are. I don't think as a city we are, and I want to ask you about a city. So, like, what is your, and I don't know, like, so pro-femme, pro-black, like, and some people, how old are you?
28.
Tight. So I'm 39, right? And, like, some stuff I think I'm, like, just getting old. Whatever.
How are the 30s, by the way?
It's been tight. It's like, you know what was cool? I think at some point around, like, when I was about your age and a little bit, like, just a little bit older, I was like, for a long time, I was like super opinionated, but I was opinionated on things I didn't have any experience with.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it leads to like judgment of people. Right? And then you get a little older, or I got a little older, and I was like, I'd had these experiences, and I realized like I've been saying things that I don't believe. And I think that like late 20s, early 30s, I'm like, man, I know what I'm doing now. I've worked a lot of that stuff out. I'm way more accepting of like people that like think differently than me, and I can be like, I can see how you can think that way.
Yeah.
Right? And now, like, I don't know, I'm still like, you know, I'm 39. I'm still like physically able, and I think like young-minded enough to like do stuff, but it starts to be like a decision. I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, dude, if you're in your 20s and you're not like beautiful and a flower, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like running life, you know what I mean? Just soaking it up. Like, I don't know. It starts to become a decision.
I feel though, like for, well, at least like my age group, like the 30s is like your 20s now. Like,
oh, I get that. I feel that.
But to what you said about kind of like having opinions, but not really knowing what you're talking about. Like, I make it a point to, if I'm going to say something, I'm going to have an opinion about something, that I will know about it. And because I don't want to be looked at as like a dumbass. And if I don't know something, I'm not going to speak about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I'm asked about that, I'm going to come from a place of learning versus a place of talking about it. Because,
you know what's crazy is doing these things. I think that like if you just were floating around consuming content, right, like as we do, you would think that more people than not are like my way or the highway, right?
well, it's
And I just don't.
it's easy. It's easier to be like that versus being open. Like
that's what I'm saying. My point.
It's easier.
I think most people are.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. What is important to you right now? Like, what are you thinking about? What are you working on? What are you?
Oh, I mean, so much is important. You know, Black lives still matter. this gun violence thing. I mean, I just feel like we are so numb to it now. Like I myself, I'm numb to it. Mm-hmm. It's like every day there's somebody getting shot. I mean, was it yesterday that the shooting happened in Indianapolis? Like,
I just saw that this morning
FedEx
when
place.
I went to the bathroom. Somebody came I woke up this morning and that was the first thing that was on my phone. It was like 8 people got shot. That's all I saw. I was like, man, I got to get some coffee and go. But I guess
you see, the funny thing is like I was like scrolling through stuff and like I wouldn't have known that had happened. It wasn't like on when I was scrolling through my news stuff, I didn't really see that, but I did see it on social media. But I just think that that's kind of crazy that, you know, it was more highlighted on social media versus the news. And, you know, I might have just been looking in the wrong places, but.
I completely understand what you're saying. I was in the farm. We have a farm, and I was out at the farm, and is it Dante Hopkins?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I came back from the farm, and you have like very little reception there, and I was like a day late getting to it. I didn't see it anywhere. I saw it like when I opened my phone, right? And I saw, and I was like, oh, what is this? And at that point, I could hardly even see like any news stuff about it.
Yeah.
It was more like coming from you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is like good and bad, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But at any rate, like, so what, like, Black lives very much matter. I agree with that, right? Like, but like, what do you feel passionate about this? Obviously, it's like one of the first things on your profile.
Gun violence, trans rights.
Are you anti-gun?
No, I mean I own a gun.
Yeah.
I was.
I love that.
I was. What is it? I had my conceal and carry. It just expired. Because I mean, I guess technically now you don't
have to have it.
You don't even have to have it, so I just let it expire. It expired last month. So yeah, no, I mean, I think that guns have their place. I have my own gun. I feel like everybody is entitled to have their own gun and to feel like a sense of being protected. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with kind of making sure that crazy people don't get guns. Like, right. You know, doing more extensive background checks. It's like, I feel like, and people say this all the time, and it's like, but it's true. Well, at least to me, like, you know, I don't want to take anybody's guns away. I just want to make it harder for people that shouldn't have guns to be able to get guns.
I get it.
But like I said, I mean, I have a gun. But I think that there should be, you know, a little bit more of a background check and due diligence and stuff like that. I mean, we need to respect these weapons, and I don't feel like we're doing a good enough job.
Do you feel respected or cared for or loved in this city?
Yeah, I mean, in certain places. Yeah. I mean, I love St. Louis.
You're from here?
Yeah. Born and raised St. Louis. Have lived in St. Charles. I would probably never live in St. Charles again.
You don't feel loved, respected, and accepted there?
Not as much as St. Louis.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like there's a big segregation. And not just in St. Charles, even in St. Louis, I feel like there's St. Louis is very segregated. But I mean, I feel loved. I feel safe at times. But yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm saying that like from like a couple different like lenses, right? Like, I don't know, and do forgive me for real.
No,
like I don't know. Like
Go
I'm
ahead.
like try to learn these things. Orientation is right to say, right? Like sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, people get okay. Well, so there's like, you know, orientation versus preference, and apparently it's like kind of it's offensive to say preference because that makes it feel like it's like a choice versus this is who I am, which I get that. But at the same time, like it is kind of and this is kind of where I break from other people. Like for me, it is kind of a preference too. Like, yeah, I prefer a dick versus vagina. Like, I don't. I prefer that.
Yeah.
But it's also not a choice. Like I am gay, and so like I could see both sides. But orientation's fine.
So I was saying through that lens of like sexual orientation, or like you feel heard, seen, supported, loved here. Yeah. Being
But I mean, there's times, you know, I don't know, like right now I'm like wearing these boots and, you know,
and they're tight.
And I'm known for dressing crazy, but does the thought cross my mind like maybe I shouldn't be as crazy or risque because like that will give me attention that I don't want. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, I've definitely thought about that living here. But I mean, I feel like that's everywhere too. I mean,
we're not better or worse off here than anywhere else.
I mean, I feel like if I were to go to New York right now, maybe it's a little bit more liberal, but at the same time, I would still be kind of worried about that going to certain places, doing that. So, yeah.
I had a Hispanic wife, and I remember I was in Yankee Stadium, in the new stadium, and I'm like touring, and I had a hat on that said Caracas, and she's like very dark skinned, and and this dude in Yankee Stadium said some crazy stuff to both of us. And I thought for a minute, I was like, man, I thought this was supposed to be like New York.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's assholes in New York.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. But I've like traveled a ton, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like, man, it's easy when you haven't had experience outside of your own, out of this,
getting out of your comfort zone,
right, and seeing like what's good and bad. But like pro femme, explain that to me. You said, and you got a ring. What's a ring?
So I'm married. Mm-hmm. It'll be 4 years in July.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So okay, I guess.
Was it wild getting married?
Yeah, I mean it's still wild, and I mean if we can be honest on here. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I've been married for 4 years. We've been together for 7 years. And, you know, COVID has really, it's affected everybody. It's affected our relationship. Mm-hmm. You know, my husband, he's an accountant and he works from home now. He's been working from home for almost a year. And, you know, I think that it's nuts. I mean, we literally see each other all the time, every day. It's kind of wild. And, you know, I think that has an effect on people in their relationships. Divorce rates, I haven't even looked at, but I'm sure are fucking
That's my situation.
Out of the roof. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah. Like, are you on that path or you're thinking that?
I mean,
No.
We I'm in counseling right now. He's in counseling right now. And then we're going to counseling together. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we both definitely want to put in the work and be there for each other, but it's a challenge. And then I think, you know, I'm 28 and I'll have been married for 4 years. If I could go back in time, I maybe would have waited a little because I feel like I got married a little young, but mm-hmm. I don't regret like anything. I am very happy where I'm at right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't think COVID has helped any relationship.
Yeah.
That has been, now I will say that there's relationships that have been formed from COVID. And I definitely think that that's kind of interesting how people have had to kind of like make their own path and like carve something out in a time when, you know, you can't go out to the bars and you can't travel and do stuff. And like, that's the things that we like to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like we like to go out, we like to go to theater, we like to travel around the world, and like that's inhibited. So it's like, then you kind of have to find new stuff to like new interests, mm-hmm. and you kind of have to rebuild your relationship, and that's like what we're doing right now, and it's hard.
Yeah, I wish you luck. It's not easy, that's for sure.
No, it's not.
Dan, I think that for a lot of people, myself included, I think to some extent, I mean, we didn't stop working. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a real hard time. I was talking to somebody yesterday, dude. I was I was power washing my deck. Right. Just for like, so I was like, and I think that I did it twice, but I like was power washing my deck, and I've always had like, kill yourself. You know what I mean? Like weird little flyers that run through my head. It's not like anybody needs to be like concerned for me. You know what I mean? I talk to a counselor and stuff like that. It's just part of me. Right. But I like power washing my deck, and it was like, there was no, I've gotten so used to like stimulus and go, you know what I mean? That when you're like left with yourself.
Oh yeah.
I was power washing my deck, and it was like, I couldn't stop power washing the deck once I started, because then it'll be like faded, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was like, kill yourself. And I was like, I got really concerned when I was like, dude, just hurry up, finish, call somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was like, and I feel like I'm like a fairly like connected, open, stable person.
Yeah. No, I completely see and understand that. Like, I'm an extrovert, right? Like, I get my jollies from being out and meeting people and interacting with people, and being with my friends, and that's how I cope with reality. And like, being in COVID, when you're restricted from that, like, then you're kind of forced to be an introvert, and it's like you have to sit there with your thoughts, and it's like, man, like, I have some really fucked up thoughts. Like, I was using my extrovertedness and going out to the bars and like hanging out with friends and going out to eat and all that stuff as kind of like a distraction, when in reality, like, that's stuff that I would be using to deal with anxiety, right? Like, and then not having that during COVID, it's like, then my anxiety is like through the fucking roof, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I've never experienced this. I've never been this type of person. So yeah.
Have you guys seen, I mean, you're not operating, but have you seen personally like more suicide? I don't know if you're exposed to that where you're
I'm
at.
not exposed to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, in healthcare, yes, it's definitely all around. Whether it's like, coworkers or coworkers' families or stuff like, I mean, yeah, it's definitely all around. I know several people that have lost family members and stuff during this time. So yeah, it's been.
Have you come to like some kind of realization or something like, oh, like these things that I thought were important aren't, and these things are?
Like what?
I don't know. Like, there was some stuff with me for sure where I'm like, I've never been like somebody who like, and I don't want to say like, oh, I don't care what people think. You know what I mean? I'm definitely very sensitive to what people think of me. You know what I mean? When somebody's like, your donuts suck, I'm like, man, I suck. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not like this tough guy that can be like, whatever. But like, I don't behave in a way because I'm afraid of what you think of me.
Yeah.
Right?
But you're still sensitive. You're sensitive about your shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I realized some of that stuff throughout this, right? Where I'm like, oh, it just doesn't really matter at all. I realized some stuff like in sitting by myself, you know what I mean? Or like having to slow down a little bit, like how poorly I look at myself, right? And I started doing some stuff against that. When somebody gives me a compliment, I say, I accept that, right? And I write the compliment down.
So prior to this, because I'm kind of like this too, did getting compliments kind of, you don't like, they make you uncomfortable?
Dude, I was like, I'm going to finish your sentence. Yeah. But that's what I was going to say, make you uncomfortable. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, for sure. And I'm like, man, what is that?
Yeah.
Why? How can you seem like a person who gives love, right? Like I feel energy from you, right? And like, it's easy for you, probably the way it seems, to be like attentive and loving and caring. What is wrong with me that I can't be like, thank you. Let me accept this.
I mean,
are you that way? You think?
Yeah, right? I'm like that. Getting compliments is kind of hard for me at times, and I think of it, and I have done like months of counseling, and we've talked about stuff like this, but I don't know, a sense of not feeling worthy. Like, I think that's what comes down to it. Like that at the root of it, like I don't feel like I'm worthy of that compliment because of X, Y, and Z. And that might've been because of like stuff in my childhood, you know, feeling like I didn't get enough attention or this or that or whatever. But yeah, a sense of, I guess that.
Do you mind me asking, are there any other like this or that or the other? Like you said, getting attention or.
I mean, there's plenty. I think that, so like both of my parents, they are like extremely hardworking. My mom went back to school to become a nurse, and she was taking care of 3 of us and working full time and going to school at night. So I get it. Like I get the struggle. And then my dad was working full time, overtime, you know, supporting us, giving us the life that we wanted and that we liked. And but at what cost does that come when you're not getting like the attention that you feel like you need as a child? So, and it's not like I don't want this to sound like I'm like resentful of them or anything like that. Like I get it.
I don't take it that way at all.
But like, yeah, I mean, there have been times looking back that I feel like I probably could have had gotten more attention, and I didn't get that. And then to this day, like, yeah, that's affected me. And then given me a sense of not feeling like I am worthy of attention and love. And so then like, when I do get compliments, like, yeah, that's hard for me to accept.
I get that.
Like, it just feels weird.
I understand. I like you. I'll say that. You know, there's people you meet.
Yeah.
Immediately you're like, I like them a lot. You're that for me. And there's people on the same side. You're like, man, I don't like these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I try to treat them the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, dude. But you know, I started doing something. This like, man, whatever. We could just talk about counseling. I started doing this thing. Somebody was like, think of a time. Can you think of a time when you felt like loved and protected and like whatever as a kid, like you were just whole? And I remember I was at the VP fair, right? And I was hungry and it was hot and I wanted something to drink. And I was like, can I get some? And whatever, like my parents didn't have money for a $7 lemonade or whatever it was, you know what I mean? But, and the answer was just, no, shut up, whatever. And I was crying. I remember I was like, man, I couldn't say, I'm like, I'm thirsty. You know what I mean? And these people were like, hey, do you mind if we take Jason for a little walk real quick? Anyways, and they did, and they were like, what do you want? And they got me like a funnel cake and a lemonade and a hot dog. And they were just like, I'm sitting there, I was like this little ass kid eating this stuff. And I felt like so like seen and loved and heard, cared for, dude. And so what I do now, I remember like I look like this little grubby ass white trash kid. I hate even saying that word, but whatever. It's pretty demeaning. But like I think of myself as that.
Yeah.
But this little kid was loved.
Yeah.
Right in that moment by these people that I didn't know much.
Yeah.
I picture that kid with me now, especially in these times of like where I feel low. I picture this kid sitting in the car next to me or walking with me. And what I do is I'm like, what can I do to take care of that kid?
Yeah.
I end up at like Pie Guy, right? I'm like, this little dude wants a piece of pepperoni pizza. And I go, I've done this a couple times and I bet people see me. Dude, I was eating a piece of pepperoni pizza in front of Pie Guy, crying a little bit. I was like, I felt good taking care of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're doing it. And this dude was like, he walked up and he's like, you're that Strange Donuts guy, right? And I was like, yeah, that's me, dude. You know what I mean? I was like, trying to pull together, bro. As I'm eating this piece of pizza by myself crying. Anyways, that's helped me a ton. And some of that feels like soft, or I go as far as like, I feel like a bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, like, man, I'm like incomplete. You know what I mean?
No, but like we were talking in counseling, and my counselor said, you know, we really need to focus on the not your childhood necessarily, but that inner child in you that is affected, because like that is what needs to be taken care of right now. And like you looking at yourself and imagining yourself as a child and like taking care of, like that's like
Thanks. I never thought I'd be here, but I am, and it's good. Anyways, dude, we got like 5 minutes. Is there anything that you want to talk about or say or ask me?
I mean, yeah, Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter. I'm pro guns, but we do need limitations on that. Did you want me to explain what Femme was?
Yes.
For you real quick.
Please.
Okay. So like you have gays.
Right.
Or lesbians or whatever, but we're going to use gays as an example.
Guys liking guys.
Guys liking guys. And then you have, your masculine guys, and then you have like more feminine guys. So pro-femme is kind of saying like, because there's this kind of idea in gay culture and stuff, like when you're dating, like you need to like, I'm only attracted to masculine acting guys, like guys that act like guys. I'm not, whatever the fuck that means.
Bears and twinks, that's dead.
Yeah.
That's old language. That's a thing.
That's still a thing.
Is femme twink?
They can be, but that's not necessarily.
Not Please explain.
Yeah. But like, there's just this idea that a man has to act like a man, and that's what we find attractive. And like guys that don't act like that aren't deserving of like love, attention, friendship, anything like that. So like pro-femme is kind of saying like, I am for that. Like you can be your true self if you want to be femme, if you want to put makeup on, if you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do, do that. And I will still respect you as a person. I also love you as a person. There's just this idea that, masculine's the only thing, and like that's not right.
You know what's crazy? Two things. One, I'll think about whatever. My head just goes on little tangents. I think about the freest people that I know, right? And I think it's like what you describe, like free flowing spirit, right? Is that, right? And I also think of like older black guys riding Harleys, listening to loud ass music. I'm like, these people here are fucking doing it.
Different,
you know what I mean?
But
right.
Yes,
but like,
I get what
this is my thing, and I'm living it loud, right? And I love it. Anyways, dude, man, there was another question. There was like a question that I had though. Man, I don't know. I got sidetracked. I just realized you're wearing a Sade shirt.
Oh.
God.
I love her.
God.
She is so fucking hot.
Still.
She's still hot.
Dude.
Still hot.
I'll listen. Lovers Rock?
Yeah.
Woo! I'll listen to that by myself. I like, man, Sade is tight. It's crazy how many people aren't onto her. And dude dominated the 80s. And you know what's wild about her? There was like very little self-promotion with her. She could walk in here right now. I would know who she is. You know who she is. But most people would be like, oh, there's a lady getting some broccoli that's kind of hot.
But I think she kind of likes that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, being a celebrity and kind of being able to do what you wanted to do. I mean, there's certain places that she couldn't go to without being recognized. But yeah, I mean, I would love
If she came in here with the denim shirt and those pants and the jeans on?
I would. Oh my! I had that T-shirt. I should have wore that.
Woo!
I should have wore
that. God, dude!
I had that T-shirt.
I was trying to think. Man, I like you. You know what? Most people that have come on, everybody that's come on here, I'm like, man, I could keep talking to you for hours. And I would love to come on your podcast.
Yes,
your podcast is Tip and Tea.
Yeah, Tip Tea
Tip
podcast.
Tea.
Yep.
At Tip Tea on Instagram.
It's TIPTEA podcast. We're everywhere. We love to have you.
Is there anything that you want to ask me?
I mean, do you want me to wait until you come on our show? Like,
it's whatever. I mean, you ask me a question here. Is there something that's like on the tip of your tongue, in front of your mind, that you're like, I want to know this?
I mean, so like, what are your like? You asked me like, what's important to me? Like, what's important to you?
Okay.
Like, what is?
Important to me. I have
Besides the donuts.
Yeah, no. Some of this, dude, I like. Yeah. This business is cool, but I'm like, this business isn't me.
Yeah.
You know, there was an interview that I've thought about this a lot lately. You know, Nardwuar. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ask Jay-Z.
Okay.
Who are you? And Jay-Z's response was, I'm an artist from Brooklyn. Like, he had this thing where he went on for a couple minutes, and he was just, and then he goes, no, what's your name? Jay-Z's understanding of the question was, who am I?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot. Like, I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, what is important and is who am I? And I feel like being in my 30s, looking at my 40s, right? Like, my kids are so important to me. It's so important to me that I work hard and provide for them. Mm-hmm. Not so much though that they don't know how to get it themselves and struggle, but at the same time, man, that like my son is not. You know what I mean? Like, I try to like raise them the same and then respond to their wants and needs, right? My son is like very like go play in the dirt, guns, cops, and robbers. Yeah. And my daughter is super princess. You know what I'm saying? And I respond to that. I don't push that to them.
Yeah, no.
But I want them both. You know, it's so important to me that right now that my son, maybe specifically my son, because I like relate to being a little boy more. You know what I mean? That I'm like, I kiss his face all the time. I feel like I try to like be super involved and present and emotional with him.
Like fathers are so important, especially for like sons. Yeah, like
my daughter, I'm like, you know, she's already got a little attitude. I love her. She's
gonna get that attention, but I feel like. And this is especially for black kids, like black boys, like they need their fathers, they need that attention, they need a father figure, like they just need to be there, they need that attention, they need that's okay, they need that love so that they can give that love when they grow up.
That's just important to me right now. Is making them feel loved. And then also like I've just been spending a lot of time trying to like take in information and see what I think. And that's what this is really. This is like more about me than it is about you. I need to be around people. I need to be talking to people, and I've been kind of siloed. So this is important to me, and I think it's important to me that people have like all people, you know what I'm saying? Like you, and then somebody that I would say is the opposite of you. You know what I'm saying? That we have a place where we're like, man, let me hear what people have to say. It's important to me right now to I feel like I have friends. When some of this started where I was like, man, I need to do something about this. I have friends, people of color, right?
Yeah.
Come over to my house for dinner. I've been friends with them forever. Grew up. Hadn't seen them a couple months because of COVID. When they came over, there was uncomfortability. The uncomfortability wasn't about, man, I haven't been around people. It was like a feeling out process of like, man, do we hate each other?
Yeah.
Because we don't look alike? You know what I'm saying? And that melted like you know what I mean? Immediately. But there was like, and I asked, I was like, were you guys a little nervous coming over? They're like, yeah, dude, it was a little weird.
I mean, it's a tense time right now for everybody. And I think that the only way like that's going to get better is if like we do things like this and we talk about different ideas and like, don't get me wrong, like I have my ideas and I feel very strongly about my ideas, but you know, if you can intelligently tell me why you like Trump, you know, I will definitely disagree most likely, but I'm still going to listen to you. Like I still value your opinions. You're still a person. You're still entitled to the way you think. And like, I feel like a lot of people that say like are pro-Trump feel like they can't be heard, and like, you know, I do want to hear like why you feel like this way, like why like your voice matters. And at the end of the day, like the only way we're going to come together is if we can like listen to each other. And I feel like that art's been kind of like lost.
Yeah. I get that.
And like, you know, when people are talking. They're not really talking. They're just arguing.
You know what's wild is that one-on-one, no matter where you're from right now, this is my experience, everyone is saying that.
Yeah.
People who are like pro-Trump,
Mm-hmm.
right? People who are not, people who are whatever, are saying, man, we just need to listen to each other.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do. That's what we're here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Got love for you. Be good.
And you better come on our show.
Of course, is it in person?
No, we can do it.
Zoom?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, whatever. I like
set a
in-person
date.
stuff. Here we go. Applause.